may be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's post-sectoral press briefing. I am Dion Jennings, Permanent Secretary, and it is my pleasure to have you with us today. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is charged with a critical mandate to promote compliance with labour standards, facilitate decent work and access to employment, and ensure the effective delivery of social protection and security services, social security services. Our work is grounded in a commitment to creating an inclusive, equitable society, one where every Jamaican has the opportunity to participate meaningfully in the labor market, and the most vulnerable among us are supported and protected. At the forefront of this mission are two visionary leaders who continue to steer the Ministry of Labour and Social Security with energy, purpose, and integrity. The Honourable Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security, has been unwavering in his pursuit of the policies that advance decent work, social inclusion, and the protection of every citizen's dignity and rights. His leadership reflects our mission to foster an efficient, dynamic labour market and a strong social safety net for all. Alongside him is Dr. the Honourable Norman Dunn, Minister of State, whose apology we tender today, but we must mention him also as his meaningful stakeholder engagement strengthens our ability to respond to the evolving needs of Jamaicans. Together, they are laying the foundation for a more secure, resilient, and inclusive future. Of course, this vision is made possible with the dedication of an exceptional team of technical and administrative team members whose expertise and commitment drive the ministry's programs and policies every day. I'm pleased to acknowledge the presence of several key stakeholders of the ministry's team, headed by Mrs. Audrey Dare-Williams, Chief Technical Director with oversight for Social Security Portfolio, Ms. Tamar Nelson with oversight for the Jamaica Productivity Center, Ms. Gillian Corodas, Divisional Director, Industrial Relations and Allied Services, Acting Chief Technical Director, Ms. Suzette Morris, Director of Social Security, Mrs. Kemisha Anderson, Director of Public Assistance, Mr. Delroy Palmer, Director of the Overseas Employment Center, Mrs. Dania Mirage, Corporate Planner, Ms. Portia Magnus, Director of National Insurance, Mr. Travis Benin, Legal Officer, National Insurance Fund, Mr. John Paul Watson, Assistant Attorney General, Mrs. Kadeen Wright, Manager of the Confidential Registry, Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, and other members of staff or PR team, headed by Mrs. Bolt Williams, Ms. Kemisha Anderson, Director of Public Assistance. Welcome to you all and to members of the media. Thank you all for being here today and for your invaluable contributions. This year, our sectoral theme for 2025 is Delivering Today, Securing Tomorrow, reflecting not only our immediate priorities, but our long-term commitment for sustainable development and social equity. So at this time, we're going to move along with the areas that will be discussed today primarily, as we note that we had a long speech that the minister was trying to deliver yesterday within the time, and we were not able to do so. So some of the topics he will be addressing are productivity improvement ecosystem, industrial relations, flexible work arrangements, labor standards awareness campaign, Jamaica Just Transition Project, child labor, Jamaica Household Workers Union, Workers Week 2025, Industrial Disputes Tribunal 50th Anniversary, Employment Agencies Unit. And of course, we know that other areas from the social security side of the ministry will also be mentioned. So thank you all for joining us, and I'm now going to hand over to the Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Permanent Secretary, and good afternoon to everyone. I know you're tired, but first let me say thank you to all of you who are here. I think the team has actually been working quite effectively, and if we're talking about production, or productivity rather, I think that the Ministry of Labour is moving towards productivity, even in how we work. There are a number of areas where we were unable to really go into the substance of it, and so as Permanent Secretary said, we will be discussing them. But before that, let me just reiterate. Yesterday, this morning I got a call from someone who, in their summary, was very, I would say, very kind to us, but caused me to appreciate the wide span of work that is being done in this portfolio. Because literally everything that I was able to discuss yesterday is either related to an increase or an improvement. And in many cases, both. We were able to speak to increases and improvements when it comes on to our pensioners. We're able to talk about increasing allocation and improvements for our path beneficiaries. We're able to speak about increasing efficiency and improving in our work permit system, and on for overseas employment and for NIF and everything. And so, again, we take nothing for granted in the context that this is done at a time when the ministry was laden with the burden of having to treat directly with Hurricane Beryl throughout the last financial year, which caused a significant impact in our services, the delivery of those services, and everybody was impacted, whether it was that you were directly a social worker or whether you were in the accounting department here having to treat with what the social workers were sending in, or wherever you were. So again, we just want to acknowledge the team and just to give thanks to the team for the hard work that they have done. Now, we were not able to dive into all of the areas in terms of productivity. And I want to take the opportunity, particularly because, again, this morning I was asked about it in one of the interviews, to just highlight the conversation around productivity improvement ecosystem and what it means to Jamaica from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. For us, all individuals, businesses, ministries, departments, agencies, all are going to be invited to participate in this ecosystem of activities. And I think I had mentioned that there will be a QR code provided, which is in the booklet, but we'll find other ways to provide easy access to this guide, which will allow for you to be able to join in the initiatives by scanning, following the link, filling out the form, and as part of the National Productivity Campaign, the Jamaica Productivity Center has launched a number of activities. The productivity competitions and awards aimed at recognizing and celebrating excellence in productivity and innovation. And again, we do this because we want to motivate and encourage and create more of a culture of productivity across the country. This is going to include the Productivity Innovator of the Year for both public and private sectors, the Public Sector Productivity Competition and Awards, and the Productivity Innovation Competition targeted at our very dynamic entrepreneurs and tertiary students. So we call on them. This is a challenge to you to get involved and also to be rewarded. These competitions will acknowledge individuals, organizations, groups that have demonstrated measurable improvements in productivity through the implementation of innovative solutions, processes, and systems. It starts here, and it is very important because, again, stabilizing the economy, increasing allocations to ministries, increasing the compensation for workers, increasing even the number of workers can only go so far. All right? And if we want to move forward with measurable, sustainable growth, everyone in Jamaica by now knows, as our Prime Minister has repeated it over and over again, productivity is essential. And so we're playing our part through the Jamaica Productivity Center in putting in place the tangible activities to encourage that, and not just to encourage it, but also to make sure that we are supporting it by providing the technical support and the guidance that is required. That is what the productivity ecosystem is about. Additionally, in celebration of World Productivity Day, which is June 20th, the ministry will also launch a social media productivity challenge. This initiative invites Jamaicans from all walks of life to share personal testimonials about how do you stay productive in your daily life, whether at work, school, or in your communities. And remember, at my first productivity day, going off script, I said productivity is a lifestyle. And I think that is a very, very simple and effective way of really understanding it. Again, check it. If you are productive in your own yard, yes, you're going productive in your office. And it starts by you learning simple things. Spread your bed. Organize yourself. Use time management in how you eat, sleep, exercise, study. Simple things which we want to integrate. And I've used the example of what takes place in Japan, where they don't directly say to you, be productive, but the children at a very early age are incorporated into the cleaning system at the schools. And so what you find is that you may not be saying to them, be productive, but by telling them, value your environment, value yourself, and this is how you utilize your time, it engenders that, and you see it creating positive for that country. We want that here for Jamaica. So the JPC is not just telling you what to do, guiding you is critical as well. So we want to provide you with the support that is necessary to the persons who want to participate in these initiatives to make sure that Jamaica can be as productive as possible. Together, we believe that these initiatives are going to broaden the mission and inspire the culture of productivity and innovation that we need to move Jamaica now to that sustainable growth, not just growth, sustainable growth. I spoke yesterday about the Labour Standard Awareness Campaign. I won't go into that any further. And we touched briefly on the Jamaica Just Transition Project, which is a very important project started last year, a 2-year initiative of the ministry supported by ILO and the UNDP to infuse climate action with decent work and social justice principles through research, stakeholder sensitization, and other development of policies. But that moves us into an area which is critical, which we didn't get an opportunity to speak to yesterday: child labor. Now, it's not a topic that is seen as very inviting, but it is a very important topic. And so I want to reiterate that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security takes it very seriously, our responsibility, and the several efforts to combat child labor remain very strong, with ongoing community-level initiatives in high and medium-risk parishes identified through our child labor risk assessment model. The ministry also gained valuable support through technical training and an exchange program under the ILO Brazil South-South program. And efforts are ongoing regarding continuing the raising of awareness among workers and employers to address child labor in both supply chains and migration contexts. I know Ms. Corodas is doing significant work in this regard. Jamaica Household Workers Union is another area which we did not get a chance to really discuss. And I want to highlight that the ministry, in collaboration again with ILO, but also with UE, Global Campus, we trained over 30 members of the Jamaica Household Workers Union in advocacy, labor laws, and geriatric care. This is important, and this is a step in the right direction. We talk about formality, and we talk about moving from informality to formality. And often people see these things as just words. This is those words in action, where the ministry is finding ways of ensuring that the support that is provided is tangible, is real, is practical, is effective. The initiative is aimed at institutional strengthening as a part of the ministry's continued work since we ratified the ILO's Convention 189 on domestic work. I want to move quickly on to another area of importance, and it speaks again to the work that Jamaica, through the ministry, is doing in collaboration with the ILO, the Caribbean office particularly, and just to acknowledge also that team, Joni Musa Bayana, and the team that visited us here, joined us in our LAC meetings, joined us also at other important activities, and have continued to work, I'd say, very, very, very close with our team now to establish the Decent Work Country Program for Jamaica, advanced by a very strong tripartite commitment by government, employers, and workers. And let me also say that Jamaica has been commended and acknowledged in this region for what has been seen as a very effective tripartite system. This will provide, that's the Decent Work Country Program, will provide a very clear roadmap with opportunities to take the country forward in respect of labor market demand and supply, principles of decent work, labor standards compliance, and labor market inclusion. This will include the development of a national employment policy through the joint work of this ministry and also OPM. Again, this is a very important aspect of the development of our stronger framework for the labor market resilience that we speak about. I spoke briefly about the new era of work, so I won't go there. But I know we did not touch on Workers' Week and IDT. So I'll end with those two areas that are important, but that we didn't get an opportunity to speak to yesterday. This year, Workers' Week will be celebrated from Sunday, May 18th, to Labor Day, which is May 23rd. We begin with the Workers' Week Labor Day church service, and we will be doing the usual wreath laying and media activities. This Workers' Week, as we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Labor Relations and Industrial Disputes Act, Cabinet has approved the naming of our North Street and Hero Circle buildings in recognition of two previous ministers of Labor and Social Security. As part of the celebration, we will recognize and present awards to businesses and some agencies that have provided employment to many workers for over 100 years. These include leading manufacturing companies. The week's activities will culminate in the usual Frome reflections under the theme, Transforming Jamaica's Workforce for Greater Resilience and Sustainable Development. This activity in Frome continually reflects on the worker riots of 1938 that gave rise to the Moan Commission that recommended the formation of this ministry for regulating labor standards in Jamaica here. We want to welcome the hundreds of participants that come every year. I was there last year for the tour of the historical exhibition, the live entertainment, and also the social services in the Workers' Park. We commend the many private and public sector entities that have partnered with us and continue to do so, and to take our social services and employment opportunities to the people. So special recognition also to our tripartite partners, President Wayne Chen of the Jamaica Employers Federation and President St. Patrice Ennis of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions. I also want to recognize the invaluable contribution of our media partners, particularly the JIS, the Jamaica Information Service. Let me close off the additional remarks by referring to the Industrial Disputes Tribunal 50th anniversary. Now, the IDT, which was established under the LRIDA, our legislation, is celebrating 50 years. So it's not a senior citizen as yet. We congratulate the IDT, who have been promoting justice, fairness, and workplace harmony through our impartial forum. And also, they have been focused on protecting our workers, protecting employers against unfair labor practices. As part of this celebration, last month we established an additional panel of the IDT, creating a fifth panel as we increase efficiency in accessing labor justice in Jamaica. This is important. Also, we want to express heartfelt appreciation to those who work to ensure that the IDT continues to be a bastion of confidence. Whenever you think about labor disputes and you hear someone say the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, it's almost as effective as speaking about the Privy Council because of the level of confidence that has been developed in the IDT. The PS, if you permit, there's one other matter which was not, I don't think we mentioned it earlier, but the Employment Agencies Unit, just to close there. The Employment Agencies Unit is another important element of our structure at the ministry. It continues to monitor private employment agencies that are sending more Jamaicans overseas, more and more every year. And it also maintains an updated list of the licensed entities on the ministry's website. Those are the entities that are licensed to, within the law, be able to take Jamaicans from Jamaica overseas for employment. So outside of those persons that are on our overseas employment program, there are thousands of Jamaicans that travel for work every year to Canada, to North America. And for us to make sure that the process is as safe as possible, this agency unit is critical. So the ministry provides the list on our website, and we also work with law enforcement, embassies, and through public outreach to make sure that we can provide information to the public where you have scams. And I say so because there are several times when we are observing, particularly on social media, many agencies that are not licensed, that are not monitored under our employment agency unit, and that have never registered themselves with us. And those agencies inevitably are operating with the objective of not taking you from Jamaica to employment overseas, but taking your money from Jamaica, well, from you to their pocket. So it is essential that we collaborate with the private sector in ensuring the monitoring of all of the licensed entities to make sure that we are protecting Jamaicans as much as possible. And again, through those partnerships, we were able to reduce the operational illegal agencies from what we saw from our observations to be 93, down to now 49, and we are looking to get that down to 0. The ministry urges agencies to remain compliant, to protect job opportunities, and we continue to warn persons to be vigilant. Be vigilant, be aware, be alert, and ensure that you will consult our approved list to verify the credibility of job opportunities that are being advertised. I will tell you that if you want to ensure the authenticity of information, then you should find that information on our ministry website. If it is not on the ministry website or the minister's social media or the ministry's social media, then I would encourage you to either come to the ministry or call and verify before you take action to give your money to any entity that you cannot confirm to be licensed to operate. I think I can leave it there. Those were the major areas that were not referenced yesterday. If there are any other issues from GIS, we can answer some questions. But if not, that is the substantive additional information that we have to present to the country in relation to our sectoral presentation from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. This is now the time when we invite questions from the media. We take those now if there are any. Okay, we ask that you introduce yourself and the media house you're representing, and then you go ahead with your question. You may go ahead.
I'm Ashanti Lawson from the Gleaner Company. How's everybody doing? Minister Charles, I'm here regarding an update on the Chinese mechanic shops. I have like 2 questions for you to answer. What were the key findings of the ministry's probe into the operations of Chinese-owned garage? And the second one is, can you confirm whether the garage is, because we now know that it was 2 of them, was properly registered and licensed to operate as an automotive repair company in Jamaica?
So let me start with your first. In terms of the findings, we did confirm, and I can confirm, that our work permit unit, in addition to the unit that relates to occupational safety and health, did attend on the facility. They observed, they interviewed, they investigated, they attended multiple times, as a matter of fact. And we were able to confirm that there were issues in relation to the work permit status or lack thereof for some individuals who, in our estimation, were part of the work team at that facility. We can also confirm, and we have confirmed, that there were some individuals who did have active, valid work permits. However, as to whether those work permits aligned to the activity that was being carried out at that facility is another issue. We are working across ministries, so it is not only the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And while we continue to work across ministries, our primary goal is to ensure that there is full adherence to the law. That is why you would have noticed that activities have ceased. Yes, our team did advise the persons who identified themselves as being within a leadership or managerial position that activity of this nature without the requisite work permit being approved was a breach of the law. That could carry particular types of sanctions. And we noticed that after providing that information, certain action was taken by the individuals to close down their facility. We have made it very clear that particularly where we see hundreds of Jamaicans flocking to the service, that we are not blind or deaf to the fact that clearly this is a gap, again, in terms of what is being provided to the country. And so we have no difficulty in entertaining the regularization of these individuals so that they can continue their operation once they have complied with all legal requirements, addressed whatever sanctions, if any, that come arising from our passage of the information we received to the JCF, and once they're in full adherence with the laws and regulations of Jamaica. So the two important issues for us have been, one, follow the rules. When Jamaicans go overseas, we follow the rules. Or we have to follow the rules. Or if we choose not to follow the rules, we know that there are particular sanctions. Two, we are not here to stop commerce. That's not the role of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. It's been painstaking to explain to people that it is not our responsibility as a ministry to go around and to monitor all garages that might be popping up at a house. That's a different space, another ministry, another agency. We are focused on, in this case, any and all foreign nationals who come into our country to work. That's our responsibility under the law. And they are a part of our responsibility. So as we have said, we are doing our investigations not just to protect Jamaica or Jamaican mechanics or Jamaican consumers, but also we have a very, very significant responsibility to any foreign worker that enters this country to ensure that they are not involved or engaged in any servitude or anything of any nature that is illegal. So we take that two-pronged approach, making sure that the law is adhered to in all of its ways and forms, and that we are facilitating a service that is clearly seen as beneficial to consumers in our country. Your second... That's good update. I was asking in my mind. Yeah. What was the second question again?
Can you confirm whether the garages were properly registered and licensed before?
So let me say this, because I think people have automatically assumed that the garages are linked. And I don't know that the information given to me confirms that. That's the first thing I'll say. But what I do recall from the findings is that there was, at least in respect to the ferry operation, there was a valid incorporation and registration of a company there. But again, remember, for the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, our particular focus in this case is within the parameter of the status of the work permits or lack thereof for foreign nationals. We have that responsibility, and that's why I continue to say that it is a cross-ministry investigation, because there's another ministry or other ministries involved who treat with those other issues.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. I take it we do not have any more questions, and the information provided was quite clear. So I take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Minister, for your presentation. Thank you, members of the team, for being here. And of course, thank you, members of the media. It's very important for us to provide an update on our policies and programs within the ministry. And so we hope that you were informed today and you're made more aware. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very soon, let me just, before I close off, I'm hesitating to go into it without the full detail, and I'm not going to, but let me say, so that those who need to hear it now will be aware that I'm aware. In short order, I will call a press conference specific to issues relating to work permit. We are on a journey to improve that system, and I am cognizant that change has also caused disruption. Disruption to some who for a very long time have benefited from a dysfunctional system. Let me make it very, very clear that we are working with and across ministries to ensure that we acquire all of the information necessary to make the right decisions and to remove the right people. I'm going to leave it there, but just to say to the media, look out for a call very soon for breaking news relating to some of the changes that will come in relation to the work permit system.